Alright guys, I want to thank you for coming back for another video. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. So you're going to see I just picked up a new action camera. I'm actually filming on my DJI Action 4 right now, but we got a Insta360 X4 to be able to get a little bit more creative footage with the 360 camera. My intent is going to be to get some of those canyon carving, mountain carving, road footage in the Corvettes, maybe do some footage in the boat when we take the boat out, and try and get a little bit more dynamic footage. I know I said this with my drone. I ended up not even using my drone to film anything just because I don't go out specifically just to film with that. Nothing all that interesting I found to film with it, so it ended up being a really expensive paperweight. I'm hoping this is not the case, but you're going to see we got an Insta360 X4. We also got a mount from NEEWER, I think it's called. So your typical Chinese name branded products off of Amazon. As you can see, this is a 3 suction cup mount with a extension pole. Have not really figured out how all this works yet, other than this having these suction cups that you push in a couple times, and as you see the line, that builds the suction. So that way there's no guessing how much pressure you have on your window. That one's not holding. All right, there you go. So once you don't see the line anymore, that's when you know that thing's got suction, and pop things off to break the suction. This is the main piece here. You have your rear suction cup piece. Just kind of put this to the side while we're figuring out how to put this together. You have your extension pole. This is a metal extension pole, and that goes out probably 3 foot or so. It's got locking twist tabs. See the part number there, NEEWER CA065. What else do we got? We got some kind of adapter up here. This probably goes on the top of the pole, if I were to guess, or the bottom of the pole. For the camera mount, we'll figure that out in a few minutes. Got some other random adapter. This is the piece for the extension pole. It's going to go up like that. And a whole bunch of other miscellaneous adapters. This looks like it is a cord to make sure you don't lose your camera. Allen wrenches. Alright, and let's look at the instructions, try and figure out how this thing goes together. Okay, so it looks like this piece is actually going to screw into this back suction cup. And again, these are all metal. These feel like they're aluminum. All aluminum pieces. So it feels like it's got a pretty decent build quality. Alright, that's going to go up in there. And then the back of the pole is going to screw into that back piece. And then, let's see what we got. Looks like this is going to screw into this piece to hold up the pole. If I can hold it on straight. Alright, this is going to be your adjustment to open up. Alright, and if I were to guess, that is to go onto there for the pole. And you have your pole that sits on here in some way, shape, or form. There we go. Alright, looks like that's going to lock into there. So, like typical Chinese product form, this is as much as you get as an instruction manual. So it shows how to lock the suction cup, how to open up the suction cup, and it shows the line, and basically it shows a picture. And that is about it. So you're on your own to figure out how the rest of this works. I'm assuming this is going to go on the end of this guy if I want to use my DJI camera, and if I want to use the Insta360, that guy's just going to screw right on the tip there, which it does not look like there's a lot of threads coming out of that, so hopefully that's going to be enough threads. It's going to be a little chancy, but we're going to try this out. Let's go ahead and pan out a little bit here so you'll see the full framework of this thing. You're supposed to be able to adjust in some way, shape, or form. We'll figure this out as we're playing with it, but I don't know what this thing is for, if this is an extension piece. And then I don't even know what this is for. Let's go ahead and I'm going to hook this up to the truck first to kind of see. Man, these things are tight. Alright, here's the test of truth to see if we have enough threads for the camera. And seems like we do. Camera is on there. A little tough to tighten the camera with all these adjustable pieces here, but let's go ahead and try this out on the truck. Let's see how this works out and get an idea if this is going to be useful and figure out what these extra pieces are. Alright, so I think we're going to do this on the Audi instead of the truck, just because I don't feel like crawling up in the truck. I'm not sure how I'm going to situate this thing yet. Ideally, I'd like to have it hanging off like this, but I may just hook it up kind of like this, just for the time being, see what the footage looks like. Yeah, now that I think about it, that's probably not going to be the best way to do it, and we don't want to hang it off like that. So let me see how I can situate this better. I may try and hook it up on the roof. And see what the footage looks like. Probably the sunroof would be the best, but crawling on top of the car, opening up the sunroof, doing it from inside is going to be a little bit of a pain in the butt. Let's see how we can situate this. Alright, so these suction cups appear to work pretty good. We'll go ahead and release them and show you that. So just hit these side buttons to release, just push down on the suction cup. Let's see if I can do it one-handed. And then you push in on the buttons until you have full suction. And then we didn't do the top one yet. Let's see if we can do the top one. Alright, technically that should not go anywhere. And then once you have that on there good, we'll just go ahead and tighten up this shaft piece. You should get very little play. Tighten up that. And we should get very minimal play from this thing. Again, just a little bit of flex from the body, but that thing doesn't feel like it's going anywhere. And again, that is on the plastic part of the top valence. Let's go ahead and get the camera on there. I'll show you just kind of unscrew these things. There you go. Just kind of unscrew those things and tighten those up. And now you have like a 3-foot extension, maybe closer to 4 foot on the back of that. So we'll kind of see how this works out. This has a little bit of bounce to it. We're gonna see how it works out once the camera weight is on it. And I have to get to a point where I trust this to put my expensive new camera on this. Alright, so one thing I'm not liking about this mount already is you got a lot of flex in this back piece, and this, no matter how you tighten this. Alright, so that's full loose right now. So you can see we can kind of adjust that as you wish. But no matter how you adjust it, I don't think it's going to stay very tight. So you still get back and forth flex on this thing. So I'm not sure what to do about that. More moving pieces, more flex, right? Let me take this thing apart, look at it a little bit more, see if we can figure it out. Alright, so I got this a little bit better. I undid this top hinge portion, took the camera pole out and spun this a little bit more to lock it down. It's a little bit more stable. It's not the best. Still got a lot of flex. I'm kind of curious to see how that's going to interpret into the footage. But let's go ahead and try it out and see how it works out. Alright, the Insta360 is on. Let's try it out. Fingers crossed. Let's go for a quick drive around the block. Alright, so we're just going to go on a quick drive around the block, see some nice footage of the neighborhood. Hopefully you can see the Insta360 up there hanging off the back of the Audi. So we're going to see how this turns out. Yeah, we'll go all the way around the block. We'll see if we can hit the Amazon driver. Alright, he's fucking around on his phone anyway. He's not paying attention. So, we'll go on a quick cruise around the ring of the block and see what the footage looks like. Hopefully it looks pretty cool. Alright, let's take the camera off. We'll go inside to the computer, go into the editing software and see what it turned out like. Okay, so like everything in my life, this spiraled out of control. As you see earlier in the video, I started off with an Insta360 X4 that I actually bought used. I thought it was a pretty decent deal. And then by the time I got it, one of the lenses was scuffed. And there were some missing pieces. I was willing to deal with the missing pieces, but the lens being scuffed for the price that I paid, even though I did not notice any issues in the videos I shot, which I'll flip to the videos in a minute or so, I was not willing to deal with that for the price that I paid. So the seller refunded the purchase and they just ghosted. So I was like, all right, I just got a free camera. Like a week later, the seller reached out to me and said, hey, did you send the camera back yet? And I said, no, I was waiting for you to send me a return label. So eventually he sent me a return label. Everybody and their mother wants top dollar for used gear, so I just said, screw it. I'm just going to buy a brand new X5. The X5 just came out when I ordered the X4, so I was thinking prices were going to go down on the X4, not so much, so screw it. I just bought a brand new camera. So I'm going to go ahead and link to some of the video that I did with the Audi and the Corvette. Just real basic, quick videos, playing around with the editing, trying to figure things out. You can hear a lot of wind noise on the Corvette one. I'm hoping that the mic is a little bit better on this one. We'll find out. I'm just waiting for some good weather to get this hooked up to the Corvette and get some more footage. But the newer mount for the car did seem to work pretty good. Again, still kind of figuring out how I want to mount it on the Corvette. Get the angles I want kind of coming into this. I had a little bit different viewpoint on this. I wanted to do a full top shot of the car, and the typical angles you do with these just give you a rear shot. So I'm going to be playing around with this again a little bit more in the future, but look forward to some videos with the X5 coming up, and I'll show you guys some of the videos with the X4 and some of the questionable mounting of the newer mounts when I was going through and figuring out how to get this thing stable. Now that I've ran it a couple times, it is definitely more stable than what I had initially thought, but I'll let you guys be the judge of that. So let's go ahead and flip over the footage.